So, a friend of mine asked me to share some perspectives on how to develop self love. And I figure the best way to share is to tell my story of how I started developing and practicing loving myself. So, I suppose my story probably starts best in my teenage years because, teenagers love themselves so hard. I hated myself. I hated everything about me. I hated how I looked, how I acted around people, how I carried myself, everything. Even when I had boyfriends left, right, and center, I never really truly believed that I deserved it, or that it was really happening, or that it was because they were interested in me. It was more like, oh well, it's just some kind of fluke. But deeper than that, there was a sense of this dissatisfaction with myself. And I wouldn't call it hatred, but it was like I was angry with myself a lot of the time. And obviously, those things don't exactly foster love and supportive relationships. So, in a nutshell, I didn't know how to love myself. I didn't know that, you know what, I can actually create a better life for myself if I can deal with all these things that I have against myself and actually give myself the care that I need to be able to live my life in such a way that I can actually be supportive to other people. So, let me get back to the story. It was probably somewhere around in my mid-20s where I really started looking at the point of dealing with those superficial layers in terms of the self-judgments and basically the self-judgments that were holding me back from so much, because I would tell myself that no, don't go and talk to those people, because you know what, I don't have anything to say anyway. What am I gonna say? I'm gonna show up there and be like, hi, and then nothing. That's what happens. So just don't do it. And yes, that is linked into my relationship with myself. I didn't have the trust in myself or the courage to expand out of my bubble. And that was because I was judging myself for everything. So when I started addressing these judgments, I started getting out of that bubble a bit and started trying new things and putting myself in different situations and really challenging that preset, or that mind self-judgment preset that I had. And over time, that started to change how I saw myself and how I approached situations in my life, the ones where before I would judge myself and maybe not do anything or sabotage myself in some way and kind of fail before I even actually tried, or give up before I tried. And in those areas of my life, I started expanding and pushing myself. And I really did. I had to push myself, because those self-judgments and not doing these things that the self-judgments were keeping me from doing was my comfort zone. And stepping out of your comfort zone is uncomfortable, because you know what? everything outside of the comfort zone is uncomfortable. But when you're doing new things, there is a degree of discomfort. It's just how we deal with it. It can be uncomfortable and feel icky, or we can change how we see it to, okay, I'm going to explore now. I might stumble in the dark a little bit, but you know what? I'm going to make the most of it. I'm going to enjoy it. So I started pushing myself to see these things differently, to not think that I'd be making a fool of myself, but rather think that, you know what? It's okay to be the fool. It's okay to have fun and let go and make mistakes. And I'm the only one who's actually judging me. And it's not like this realization happened all at once. It happened over time, and it happened as I was practicing these points for myself, as I was stepping out of my comfort zone, as I was letting go of my self-judgments, and as I was redefining myself in my own eyes. Slowly, the way I saw myself in the world started changing. But then that aspect of that deeper kind of sense of not liking myself, of being angry all the time, that I think is similar yet also not similar to the more surface stuff, as for example the self-judgments. Because on the one hand, you can kind of push it down more and ignore it more, but it's always there, like in the pit of your stomach, where it's just like, when things go bad, I say to myself, you know what? I deserve this. And that part of my relationship with myself, it was also obviously not a quick or easy fix. And a lot of things, even with the self-judgments, there's points that still come up today, points where sometimes I fall and sometimes I can push through it and change it. But with this particular point, I've taken the approach of making peace with myself, because I've always had very high standards, and I've never been able to live up to those standards, and no one around me has either. And I realized that if I keep holding myself and everything around me to these standards and expecting everything to be better than what it practically can be at the moment, I'll never be happy, I'll never be satisfied, I'll never be content or fulfilled, because I'll always have this nagging feeling that it's not right, it's not okay the way it is, it needs to be better. And while having high aspirations is not something that I want to let go of, because you know what? I want to create heaven on earth. I want everyone to reach their potential. I want to create a world where there's singing and dancing and happiness everywhere. That's what I want. But I'm willing and I'm able to make peace with, maybe I'm not going to see that in my lifetime. And maybe all these things that I see that we could be, all of these beautiful things that life could be and I could be and other people could be, yes, it's possible, but not everything is going to happen in my lifetime. And I can only change so much of the world around me. And when it comes to myself, I can only do my best. And I have learned to be at peace with that. I can do my best, and that's enough although it would be nice if it was better, but I'm at peace with how I have lived, how I have stood. Although there's still that part of me that says, yes, I'm at peace with this, but okay, let's see if we can do better. Let's push a little bit more. Let's see how far we can take this. And sometimes it can go a little bit further. Alright, so I hope that this has created a good example of one approach to practicing self-love. It really comes with how we see ourselves and how we care for ourselves. So the other aspects of this, just before I wrap it up, is things like make sure I get enough rest, because I know that if I'm so tired that I can't concentrate, I'm not going to be able to fulfill my potential. Make sure to eat enough and eat as best as I can tolerate, since I'm such a picky eater, because then I'll support my body to be the best that it can be, and I can live longer and do more and have more energy and not be unwell. And I give myself some time off to relax, because it's also not beneficial to be in a wound up high stress state, or to be constantly doing something. Our bodies need rest and relaxation and to have fun. So it's not just the mental aspect, it's also the physical aspect of practically loving ourselves, of taking care of ourselves on all levels: physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, if you want to call it that, so that we can fulfill our potential in every different way, and from that contribute towards creating a better world as best as we're able to. Okay, now I swear I'm finished, I'm done. Thank you for watching. And if you have any questions or comments, let me know in the comment section or send me a direct message. Alright, you're going to see me next time.